Anthony? We're going to call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting complies with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting has been published on the municipal bulletin board in the applicable newspapers and on the website.
Kathleen, roll call, please.
Mr. Martins?
Present.
Mr. Tremor?
Here.
Ms. Cusano?
Here.
Mr. Seleckia?
Here.
Dr. Hofstein?
Here.
Ms. Bradley?
Here. Okay, we have no resolutions this evening. We have no minutes this evening. I do have a voucher for this evening, though, from the Township of Jackson in the amount of $175. I need a motion and a second to pay the voucher, please.
Motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Martins?
Yes.
Mr. Tremor?
Yes.
Ms. Cusano?
Yes.
Mr. Seleckia?
Yes.
Dr. Hofstein?
Yes.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes. Do we have any announcements this evening, Ms. Cipriani?
Do not.
All right. We're moving right along.
That's very unusual.
And we have no application, so let's go.
All right, we're going to swear in our
Actually,
professional.
I'm sorry, I will make actually an announcement. As you can see, we have 6 up on the board. We had 2 board members that were called away unexpectedly late this afternoon. So I'm just making sure that everyone is aware of that.
Thank you. And we can swear in our professionals now, please?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give before this board will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Please state your name and position for the record.
Mark Romeyer, Board Engineer.
Ernie Peters, Board Planner.
Gina Tumalo, Acting Zoning Officer, excuse me.
Thank you.
No executive session this evening. Any matters for discussion, Ms. Cipriani?
No.
Okay. We have no administrative approval, so we're going to move right along to applicant number 1, Meyer and Freda Stolman, variance 3547. Ms. Stolman, you can come to the microphone, please.
Phil, I'm going to swear you in again. Do you, could you raise your right hand? And do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give before this board will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
And yeah, please state your name for the record.
Freda Stolman.
Thank you.
And as you remember, the acoustics in here stink, so yell if you have to. Thank you. So why don't you tell us what it is you're trying to do?
Okay, so I'm trying to put a white privacy fence on the corner properties. It's 2 front yards. But first we wanted to deal with, I have a shed that's over, we noticed is over the property line. So I spoke to a few people. The shed movers, the first person right away, he's like, oh, it's gonna break, you can't move it. So after that, I reached out to 2 other people who also said that you can't move it since it's built on a cement slab. That first initial person said he would be able to cut off 2.5 feet and put a new back on it. This would give 1.5 feet between the back of the shed and the, I guess, new fence that's on the property line, which would leave enough space for to cut the grass using a weed whacker. Yeah.
They're going to cut, they can cut 2 feet off and it'll leave about approximately 1.5 feet between the back of the new back of the shed
Yeah.
and the fence.
So cut off 2.5 feet because it's
2.5
0.7 or 0.8 feet, depends which part of the shed that's over the property line. So I guess it would be 2.3, 2.4 different parts. So just round it, say, let's say 2.5 feet to cut it off.
And I'm not sure if the board recalls if everyone was on the board when Ms. Stolman and was here before.
He was.
We had some extensive testimony. Okay, thank you.
I remember it, so I'm the newest one. So.
Okay, if you remember, then everybody remembers.
No.
So I'm looking for a variance to, that it should be 1.5 feet from the property line, the shed, once we cut it. Which will come out to be I guess it's $1,500 to cut the shed. But that's the best option.
She's like, yeah. So just to keep the record clean, you were here back in December. It's a 6-foot vinyl fence and you're going to replace the chain link fence that's existing, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the issue that was raised was that the shed was actually over the property line. So that's why we're discussing cutting off the back of the shed.
Right.
And that there will now, if the variance is granted, you can do it, there'll be a 1.5 feet between the back of the new back of the shed and the
Yeah.
property line.
Right.
And what the representation was made at the prior hearing, the chain link fence would be removed and that the new fence would be installed at least 10 feet from the edge of the sidewalk closest to your property.
So I actually noticed, I asked Dawn from the township to pull up to see if they had across the street from me on 69 South Cooks Bridge Road. They're South Cooks and Georgian, the same corner property. They looked in 2004 for a variance to construct the 6-inch solid fence. They have a white vinyl fence that's on the property line. It's the same Georgian side, and they got approved for on the property.
Yes, and I know that you.
Oh, I'll let you finish.
I'm s-
Just wanted to point out, Ms. Stolman, that your property line is not on the sidewalk. So,
Right, no, yeah, I realize that.
Right,
Yours
so-
is going,
so what Ms.
Yeah.
Cipriani was saying is that essentially allowing you to go on the property line. It's just your property line is set back so far from the sidewalk.
but theirs was, right, I think they got approved that it should be set back from the sidewalk, but to the property line, not further in.
Correct me if I'm
Yes, but
wrong,
we're
Mark,
not asking you
No.
Oh,
to
you're
put,
not-
the board was not discussing, the board- nothing is done. The
Oh.
board was not discussing at the last hearing, asking you to put it further in.
Oh,
They
oh,
were
I
saying,
get it
because
right.
remember, your
I guess I got.
your
That's okay.
property line oddly is not at the sidewalk.
Yes.
Right.
Your
yeah,
property line is 10 feet
Yeah,
in
Right.
okay.
from the sidewalk, so this would be actually a variance allowing you to put the fence on the property line.
Okay,
Correct. It's just
But it
that-
would look
that-
like it was 10 feet in.
Yes.
because-
but it's not.
It's actually on your property line, which none of us understand.
And the reason why Ms. Cipriani, most specifically put that on the record is because what you originally requested was at the sidewalk, which is not your property. So even if they wanted to allow it and approve it, that's not their jurisdiction too. They can approve it up to the property line boundary.
Oh, okay, fine. I
That's
just-
okay.
I've got
That's
you.
okay. That's why we're here to clarify for you.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much for clarifying.
So just,
Oh, sorry, go
I
ahead.
just want to, so I was out there today looking at all, I looked at the house that you brought up and I read the variance that they got and it said on the property line, but then I looked at the way it's set up and it's really in line with the house, the way they're structured. So for your property, the key is you're going to have to, at least from my perspective, is moving it inside those tree line that you have on the house, on the side of the house. So right now you have the chain link fence and there's trees inside of it.
So
You're gonna
they'll
have
be
to
out.
move the fence inside of those tree lines. So that those trees will be outside of the fence if it's granted. I think that's more in line with what your neighbor has and also the house that I mentioned the last time we were here. That's on Georgian and Pine Hill. They have a similar situation with a white privacy fence it's about 20 feet from the street, but they don't have a sidewalk. So it's a lot different than what you're dealing with. So, but I think if you're willing to come inside of that tree line,
Yeah.
we can move forward with that. At least that's where I would be at.
Well, because don't forget, so what Ms. Cipriani pointed out, the existing chain link fence is over the property line.
Absolutely.
So it does
Absolutely.
have, it was gonna have to be moved back to her property line. We can't grant a variance to allow her to put it not on her own property.
Right.
Right,
And,
right.
and the question is, are those trees on the property line or are they inside the property line or outside the property line? Because that impacts where you're going to put the fence.
If I'm reading this correctly, which I think I am, I believe those trees are outside the property line. So the fence, if we were to approve it, that fence is gonna have to be on the inside, as you pointed out, of those trees.
It was hard to tell from this.
Yeah, so the fence would not be able to be replaced where the chain link fence is. It would have to be, in order to be Ms. Stolman's property, at least 10 feet from the edge of the sidewalk. And I think she can, or the position of the board that it is anticipated and required that would be inside the tree line.
Right.
Any additional questions or comments for Ms. Stolman? No? Romeyer?
Yes, just to put a couple more things on the record. The requested fence is 6-foot solid vinyl fence. Is that correct?
The privacy one, yeah, I think it's 6 feet, yeah.
That's what you're proposing?
Yeah.
Yes.
The standard.
And the fence will be outside of the site triangle on the corner of the property. It's only going to go to the front of the house essentially, and then into the rear of the yard. So it's not going all the way to the corner.
Right, yeah.
So I have no issue from an engineering standpoint on that. And there is a driveway next door with the fence proposed on the property line. The next door neighbor does have enough room to pull up safely towards the edge of the pavement and look both ways to pull out of their driveway. So I'd have no issue.
Chungalo?
Thank you. I just want to address, you said 2.5 feet off the shed. Just want to clarify and also put it on the record. The one side of the shed closest to Georgian is 1.2 feet over. So if you're cutting it 2.5 feet back, that's not giving you that 1.5 foot spacing. So I just want to put that on the record. So you would really be requesting to the engineer.
Well, if she's gonna go,
If she's
if
already
we're
1
gonna give
point,
her 1.5 feet, the shed's gonna have to be trimmed so that it's 1.5 feet completely. So not just 2.5 feet.
right, but the email that she
No, I-
is saying, the work that she's going to do is to get, please correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Stolman, you're getting 2.5 feet cut off.
Right.
So you're not going to be in 2.5 feet. You're just getting 2.5 feet cut off,
Right.
putting you at slightly over a foot
Right.
of a setback. So you wouldn't, because the shed is angled.
Part of it is wider. Part of it
Right,
has
so
more
it's
room
just,
to-
it's not perpendicular
right.
to your property line.
Right.
So you're not going to have the same spacing for
Right.
you to, like you said, your husband to mow the grass.
Right, he's not gonna use a lawnmower, right?
Right, so,
Okay, that's what
right,
you did tell
but
me.
so if the board chooses to give approval, the resolution is very specific. So
Oh.
it's okay. That's, again, that's why we're here to clarify.
And I said,
Right, Mark? Okay.
and that's why I said, I think if we give her if we say 1.5 feet, when you have the shed cut, you have to make sure they cut it so that there's 1.5 feet all the way through. So you're cutting it in and
Right, but just because Dawn had made me a little bit more apprised of the situation, she's looking at getting 2.5 feet cut off. So I don't think it's fair to hold her to that because she didn't get necessarily a quote for what you're asking. Because then it would be 2.5 feet more off that side. You see what I'm saying?
So right now, what,
So
if
then
I'm
the
following
variance-
correctly, it would be 2.5 feet of the shed to be removed, which will leave 1.5 feet from the shed, 1.5 feet from the property line in some sections and a little
And-
under 1 foot
right.
in other parts due to the angle of the shed.
Right. So I just wanted to make that clear and also to make sure I have the correct understanding.
Yeah, it would be at least 1.3 feet off the rear property line.
if these are right.
I know it may sound redundant. It's just very important to have the specifics on the record and as part of the resolution to avoid any issues with you in the future possibly.
All right,
So,
so-
Perfect, no, thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Martins?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. So you said the minimum is 1.3? So is the max 1.5? Is that how I should think about it?
I'm going to politely defer
max is
to
actually gonna be
board
1.8.
engineer on this, on the numbers
1.8.
part.
Because if you look, it's
Yeah.
1.2
I
and d- 0.7. So if you're
Okay.
taking off 2.5,
Even
you're
better.
going from 1.3 to 1.8.
1.8, okay. Yeah.
Meyer appears to be doing math.
Correct. That is
You got your
correct.
math,
Look
come
great.
on.
He's the math. He's very good at this stuff. Okay, okay. So worst case scenario is 1.3. That's what I'm getting. It's not like 0.5. It was over. Okay, that's clear. Thank you.
You have something else, Mr. Sucker? Any other questions or comments?
Just one thing, the shed is on a concrete slab.
Yeah, that's why. I couldn't
Now,
do it.
is the concrete slab that's in the other property, is that part going to be removed also?
I forgot to specify to ask him, I assume.
Have to put the fence in.
Yeah.
Put the fence
they're
in.
gonna
you
have
can
to
have
put your
the
fence
roof.
Right, they're gonna, yeah, he's gonna have to remove it.
They'll probably cut the slab, I'm sure.
So just to reiterate the conditions, if someone were to make a motion, it would be that it was a 6-foot white vinyl fence. The chain link fence will be removed at least 10 feet from the edge of the sidewalk closest to the applicant's property inside the tree line. The shed that is over the property line will be cut back 2.5 feet, which will leave at least 1.3 feet off the rear property line, with a little bit more in other areas due to the angle of the shed.
I said I didn't have any questions. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead, Mr. Martins.
I think last time you testified to this, and I just to be sure, all your neighbors were notified, especially the ones right next to you, about this, right?
Right.
And I don't believe they were here last time. I don't think that anybody's here this time. Have they communicated anything to you where, you know,
No.
they weren't happy?
Oh, yeah.
No, they
But
didn't
I
have
don't know
any
if I
issues.
can even
Yeah,
accept
no,
that.
I'm sorry, Mr.
I can't
Morrison,
accept
yeah,
that.
The neighbors can't solisit hearsay testimony about what the neighbors.
Hearsay?
should have said.
It's
That's
like a
exactly
murder
right.
trial. Okay, all right, thank you. I was just checking.
It's a shed. I think we can all agree that it's not a murder trial.
Okay, Ms. Stallman, I'm going to open it to the public. Okay? If anyone wishes to come forward and make any comments about the testimony you've heard this evening, please do so at this time. Seeing no one come forward, we're going to go ahead and close public session. Board, it's up to us for discussion.
I don't think we need a whole lot of discussion. I think with all the requirements that Ms. Cipriani has stated, the applicant seems amenable to everything. I would make a motion to grant the variance based on the stipulations that
that.
we put forth.
All right, we have a motion, a second.
I would second that, sure. Oh, okay, you got
Actually,
it.
Dr.
All right.
He beat you to it.
But thank you for your thought.
Mr. Martins,
Yes.
Mr. Tremor,
Yes.
Ms. Cusano,
Yes.
Mr. Seleckia,
Yes.
Dr. Hofstein,
Yes.
Ms. Bradley.
Yes. Your variance has been granted.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We are going to move on to applicant number 2330 Whitesville LLC. This is for a time extension for site plan 687-2.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, board professionals. My name is Jared Pape with the firm of Heilbrunn Pape, appearing on behalf of the applicant, 330 Whitesville LLC. This application previously received approval from this board, and we are here solely to request an extension of time of that approval. By way of background, the applicant received preliminary and final major site plan with use variance relief for modifications to the previously approved retail center and the existing gas station and convenience store. Pursuant to NJSA 40:55D-52, the applicant is requesting an extension of time on that approval. The project has been unable to proceed due to the utility authority's lack of sewer capacity, which obviously is a circumstance outside of our client's control. The applicant's engineer, Stuart Challoner, will briefly confirm the status of the project, including some more detail on the lack of sewer capacity and also the fact that the zoning has not changed on the property since the time of its approval. So with that, I'll ask Mr. Challoner to be sworn and provide his testimony.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you will give before this board will be the truth and nothing but the truth? And if you could state your name and put your credentials on the records.
Make sure the microphone is on.
My name is Stuart Challoner, Challloner. I'm a licensed engineer and planner in the state of New Jersey. I've been practicing engineering. I've been licensed since 1989. I've owned my own business in Toms River since 1995. I've appeared in front of this board at least 50 times over the past 30 years. And I've prepared this application. I think this application started in my office in 2006.
All right, this board accepts your credentials. Thank you.
Thank you. This application received its approval, I think, originally in 2010. The market was soft at that time, so we tabled it. When we got our amended approval, sewer capacity, this area of sewer shares sewer infrastructure into Toms River. That capacity is at its max at this moment. There's currently we keep our preliminary approval open with the MUA to make sure that we are in the queue for the sewer when it does become available. We currently are working with Pinelands. Our Ocean County soil approval is still valid. We're just crossing the Ts and dotting the Is to make sure that all our approvals stay valid while we're waiting for the sewer to be approved.
That's the full presentation. If there's any questions, we're available.
Questions or comments? Mr. Peters?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I can confirm that the Jackson MUA has prepared a letter either August or September of 2025 indicating there's no sewer capacity for the project. The applicant's responsibility under the law is to prove to the reasonable satisfaction of the board that they were barred either directly or indirectly from receiving all required outside agency approvals, such as the MUA, and that they diligently pursued them, which they obviously have if they went back to the MUA last year and asked for an approval. So from our perspective, they've met the requirements for a time extension, and we take no exception to the testimony that was given this evening.
Any questions or comments?
So have they committed when the capacity is going to be available? Like how long of an extension, I guess, would you require?
So no, they didn't commit a time period. They're looking into whether or not Toms River can, there's, last time I spoke to the MUA, they indicated there's 3 projects that they're trying to earmark to see if they can get those, because ours is only 2,000 gallons a day. It's not a big sewer generator.
Right.
They're looking to see if they can get Toms River to accept additional flows.
Right.
But there is a developer that's looking to run a new interceptor into the county OCUA system in Toms River near the Boy Scout facility on 571. When that occurs, then this area of this area of Jackson that will have ample capacity. So we're on hold until that.
Yeah, and I guess the key question, right, until that, which is 2 years from now, you know, who knows,
Yeah,
right? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
How many extensions have you had so far?
Since our last approval, this will be our first.
Sorry?
Since our last approval, our amended approval, this will be our first extension.
That's correct, yeah. So the amended approval was adopted, I believe, January 3rd, 2024. So that initial 2-year period has run. So we are here now requesting an extension for the first time of that approval.
So would this be a 1-year extension?
Yes. Yeah, we'll defer to the board, of course. I mean, there's certainly a possibility we'll be back requesting further extensions, but at a minimum, we'd be requesting a 1-year extension.
And the maximum would be 3 years in total?
That's what's provided for in the municipal land use law, correct?
Are you anticipating needing a future extension after another year?
After the initial year?
I would assume if we don't get the sewer, yes, we'll be back.
It's likely, yes.
Would you request a 2 or 3 year if possible from the board?
If the board is open to it, we'd certainly request a 2 or even a 3-year extension.
Just for my,
Just, I'm sorry, I would just say, I actually like your idea because I do believe that on a different application, we were notified that they were going to be widening that section of Whitesville Road as well, before they would even consider bringing the water in, right? That was according to my notes from 2023. So I agree with Mr. Romeyer that maybe rather than 1 year, we should be looking at 2 or 3. So you don't have to come back.
We would certainly appreciate that.
Martins, I apologize.
No, that's exactly my point that I was going to say. What's the detriment to us or the community in extending it to 3 years? And if you get the capacity earlier, you start earlier. It doesn't matter. Like,
The question
what's the
really,
detriment to us?
It's actually a legal question.
Okay, go ahead.
Because the way that the statute is written is that you may get extensions of 1 year, but not to exceed 3 extensions. So the way the statute reads contemplates up to 3 extensions of 1 year each, not a 3-year extension.
Can we give them two extensions tonight of 1 year each?
Yeah, I mean, I think I understand that the board does not want to burden the applicant with having to come back and that's really issue. I think that we could probably phrase it that we're granting 3 extensions of 1 year each tonight. It's not the very cleanest way, but I think that it is a reasonable way to proceed under these circumstances.
Is the MUA the only thing that's holding you back? So if the MUA came within a year, there's not something else that would hold you that, okay. I just want to make sure we give the approval.
Any other questions or comments? Let me just open this to the public. If anyone wishes to come forward and make any comments or have any questions regarding the testimony you've heard this evening, please come forward at this time. Seeing no one come forward, we're going to go ahead and close public session. Board, it's up to us for discussion.
And just so that the board is aware, the 1 year extension would bring it to January 2027. And so obviously if they were to do the 3 1-year extensions, it would be, they would be extended until January of 2029.
I don't have an issue going to the 3 extensions. Saves everybody a lot of.
I'm okay as long as each one is a separate extension.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that you only have the MUA, so there was a second possibility, I would say you might have to come back in a year because that one.
Yep.
So we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to grant the 3 1-year extensions through 2029. Is that what we decided?
We have a motion and a second. Kathleen, roll call, please.
Mr. Martins?
Yeah. Are you going to put on there that they have to run consecutively or concurrently, whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. Yes.
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 No later than January 2029.
Mr. Tremor?
Yes.
Ms. Cusano?
Yes.
Mr. Seleckia?
Yes.
Dr. Hofstein?
Yes.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes. You have your extensions. Thank you.
very much.
We are going to move on to applicant number 3, Stephen Rivera, Elite Wrestling LLC. Mr. Pfeffer.
More homework? Thank you. It's not in color.
Cutting corners, right?
Thank you.
I'm all right. How are you?
We're ready.
Good evening, Adam Pfeffer, attorney on behalf of the applicant, Stephen Rivera, Elite Wrestling LLC. First, if I can just from the outset, I understand that there are only 6 members this evening, and the applicant, as is a use variance, we need 5 affirmative votes. Being that we're here already, and I also say that some neighbors are here, we would like to at least start the process, get started. We'll see where it goes, and then we'll go from there, if that's okay with council and the board.
Certainly, Mr. Pfeffer, what Mr. Pfeffer is alluding to, if anyone's not aware, is that he may wish to come back and hold the vote until there are 7 members present.
But as we're here, we would like to start the process and maybe finish, but we'll
Yes,
see
and
what
I'm sorry, Mr. Pfeffer, if we had had notice earlier,
Understood.
unfortunately, 2 board members just had problems that rose up at the end of the day.
Life happens. It wouldn't have been the first time. As the board, I'm sure, is very familiar both with the site in question. We're located at 1435 Toms River Road. This property has been before this board on many occasions and had received previous approval. The site currently is over 6 acres in size. There are 5 structures on the site itself. The application this evening is not looking to change anything with the site. I should also say from the onset, this is what's known as a bifurcated application. So the only thing that we were here before the board this evening is for the use of a wrestling training facility. And we'll get into, Mr. Rivera will come up shortly and will give testimony as to his business. I believe the board is also familiar with Mr. Rivera's given testimony on a different site. It should be noted that he is looking to move from that site. So a lot of the use and stuff is the board should be familiar with. We're not changing anything. We're just moving. We're looking to move locations. So again, the property itself is zoned, is in the RD1 zone, 6.6 acres. As I indicated, there are 5 existing buildings. There was a previous approval that had back in 2017 that granted the approval of a 5,000 square foot warehouse building. That building has been built, it's there, it's up, and we're now looking to utilize that for the wrestling facility. Again, important to note that, again, I went through your professionals' reports, both the planning and the engineering, and they both have raised certain questions regarding to the site. And obviously, should the board approve the application this evening, we would have to come back for a site plan to talk about traffic flow and whatnot. We could touch on some of the uses, the use and the traffic that'll come to the site. But as far as actual testimony regarding how it would flow, we would ask that that be at a later date. I should also just point out there are some existing bulk variances, a front yard setback variance and an accessory structure setback variance. Again, we are not proposing any changes to the site, so those 2 existing variances are there, but we're not increasing them in any way. At this time, if I can call Mr. Rivera. You can.
Mr. Rivera? Hi. Could, yes, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give before this board will be the truth and nothing but the truth? And please state your name for the record. Thank you. And here comes a microphone, so that's going to be helpful.
Hello.
So, Mr. Rivera, if you can, again, as I indicated here, I know you've given testimony before this board before. If you can just first give us an overview today.
We are a wrestling training facility. When I say facility, we train
Could you
kids from
speak into
first-
the mic, please?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Is that better?
Yes.
All right, good. Sorry. We are a wrestling training, mentoring facility service for first graders through 12th graders. And we run, it's hard to, all right, so we run 5 days a week. Based off the resolution that we had before, we were at the 3 days, but over the years and everything else, I'd like to get to a point where we're we're able to go, 5 days a week. The need is there in the community. I have the kids that have the interest in the sport. And basically,
When you say 5 days a week, is that Monday through Friday?
it is Monday through Friday and possibly like a Sunday morning. We don't have class all day. Wrestling practices start in the late afternoon. I usually start my privates like today. I started at no earlier than usually 3 o'clock because I have a real job. I'm a technology guy and I sell Cisco routers. So during the morning, I'm making my real living and then my passion takes over in the afternoon. And I've been doing this for 30, 40 years as far as a wrestling club. I've been lucky to be in Jackson for the last 10 to 15 years, and we've done some great things in this town. And at this point, I'm on a property where I was here last month, and I got caught off guard there. I didn't know that by selling the property, I would lose my rights to that variance I had. And I want to thank you for extending that. But then I just recently learned that that is only for the term of their extension. So that puts me in a jam, which I didn't really get that day because I was excited that I didn't get kicked out of there. So,
So
now-
when
yeah,
you, when
so
you,
now-
when you heard that you had a finite period of time and you had the location, that's when you started to look for a new site?
Destiny took over. Destiny took over. Literally, one of my kids their dad is married to the people that own this property. And he heard, obviously, in the situation they were in. And he's like, Steve, I think there might be a property available. My in-laws, you might have to look into it. And I literally met Tracy the next day or that afternoon. And we're here today because that facility, that property is exactly which I would love to use. And based on the situation that I'm in and already existing in, it's very familiar. It's very similar. The setup's similar. The barn's just a little bigger. The parking's better. And if you guys know from my last meeting here with the residential situation I'm in, the parking with that house mixing with their patrons and my patrons, it got jammed up a little bit. And this would be an opportunity where my place is my place and we could be more structured in our parking and our coming and going and all that kind of stuff. I could just be better at what I do on this property, I believe.
So we'll get to the site itself in a couple of minutes, but as far as you're saying a similar situation, your site now is also.
Correct, it is. And I'm working through a resolution that was approved 10 or so years ago. And since then, I've been running clean. I've been able to come back and they haven't had any complaints against me. So at this point, based on the situation, a forever home, you know?
And we'll get to some of that shortly, but with regard to, you indicated like a day like today, you started your private. I assume that a private.
Private is, when I do privates, is anywhere from 2 to 6 kids in that private small group. And we run for usually just an hour and then another hour and then practice begins. But yes. Yeah, like 25 kids, 25 to 30 kids. And
are there any?
And there's no parallel classes. There is carpooling because this kind of wrestling thing is very often. So parents work together and you end up working with towns that get the carpools together with those kids that are willing to come. Obviously Jackson's one, Toms River is one. Those are areas that people drive out and use my services.
As far as employees, besides for yourself, are there any other employees that you engage?
I do have like 3 of my alumni that came through my program that today are married with children and now come back and work consistently in my program.
So again, just for the board's understanding, so at a.
3.
So 3 employees.
Yeah.
Plus yourself.
Yeah, no, 2 plus me normally. And at night it's 2. My guys are scheduled 2 coaches and I am there. And hopefully in the future I won't be all the time, but Yeah, right now, I'm there.
Okay, and then, and how many, what's the maximum? Is there a maximum amount for students in a class?
No, wrestling, not everybody loves wrestling. So as it is, I feel like we have a strong community of wrestling, and that 25 to 35 is a solid group of kids. I can consistently say that we're in there.
The board's report talked about parking for the area. Based upon the use, they were indicating that there would be 50, for a 5,000 square foot building, there would be a need for 50 parking spaces. And again, as I indicated to the board, they approved the use, we would have to come back with the site plan to show the parking area. I will point out on the exhibit I handed out that there is a large existing gravel area. Is that correct?
Where we're going to, in the property we're speaking of, in the
Yes.
new area, it is so much better than what I am currently working with, and we do a great job with what we're working with. But in the future, I could, with the way this is, the way this property's set up, the way we're off the road and come in a little bit, I'll be able to organize that parking lot either through cones and ropes where people will know exactly where they're coming through and how they'll exit. There'll be signs and poles. So I can make it, it's just the layout of their land is it's wider, where mine's narrower and long. And with their way their space is there next to this big, near that barn right in the front of it, there's just a whole open area there with gravel already. So it's really just organizing the cars to know. And I talk to my people through my software that everybody's engaged in my club, and I would be real easy to coordinate the organization of it that for the future.
Thank you. With regard to, you indicated again, privates may start around late afternoon, 3:30. Main classes start approximately 5:30 or so. And what's the latest, how long do the classes
The
go?
latest class starts at 7 o'clock.
And how long are the classes?
About an hour and 20 minutes. By the time the kids leave and stuff, maybe 10 minutes, they get out of there pretty quick.
So in approximately 8:30,
Yeah.
everybody's off-site, everyone,
Yeah.
you're shut down, there's no, and do you hold any other type of events other than the training facilities?
No, currently we just do the training on a regular basis, and it's consistent.
And again, I asked this on the site that you're at today. Is there any detriment that you see or that you've been indicated by operating a commercial business in the residential zone? Is there any detriment that any comments that people have made to you?
I want to say that, one, I'm a good neighbor. I do the right things. I'm not there to cause problems. I'm literally in the business of helping kids. So if there is a problem, I try to address it with a neighbor if there ever was one. At one time at my current address, there was a disgruntled neighbor that I tried time and time again. And unfortunately for her, she couldn't get the variance she wanted, but we tried to help that woman as well. I'm not looking to fight with people with what I do. I'm looking to quietly build champions inside my four walls.
Now, from you indicated you came and saw this site. If you can just talk about how the site works for you and how it's suitable for the actual use that you're proposing.
If you could see here in the front here, the way they have it set up, when you come off Toms River Road 571, for one, it's a great road to be coming in and out of. They have a great entrance in the front, very wide, where I'll be able to have cars coming in and out in real lanes versus now where we're in a driveway and, I come, they come, and it works, but this is going to be the enhancement.
And just for the board's understanding, is the building that you're proposing to use the most rear rectangular building that's towards the top of the
Correct,
sheet?
correct. And they also have so when you come in there, I'll be able to come in, my people will come in. There's a gate of privacy there from the road. So once they're in, I can shut them in and make sure no one's doing this or that, which I love. And then I can also keep people out. So when I say we're not doing things because they won't be able to get to it. And then the flow, like I said, you come right in, in front of the building, they have a big awning that's 30 by 100, I think. And the parking right there will be just so organized, just if I literally let them park straight into the building, I might cover the majority of the cars that I'm gonna have coming. And then the second row would be for the second class. And those people would be able to pull out. I think that's like one of the major things, because that's what the town worries about. And, you know, like I said, we're trying to do things within the realm of permission. So I don't see any detriment to what I'm going to do here, in all honesty. And if any of the neighbors have, I'd love to try to quest their concerns.
Could I interrupt just one second?
Sure.
You have Mr. Rivera presenting the application. However, the variance is going to go to the owner of the property, I assume. I'm right. Right?
When
Because
you
it
say the
runs with the,
variance, what we're seeking tonight is again, just a bifurcated use variance for the use of a wrestling school in that one building, which is labeled as building
but the
4.
variance still is going to the owner of the property. It's not going to Mr. Rivera.
It'll be correct. He's the applicant. He's not the owner, he's the applicant.
You're not having the applicant testify. The real
is-
applicant, he's not the
No,
applicant.
Mr. Rivera is the applicant. He's not the owner of the property. The owner of the property is present, who has signed and consented to the application. I think your question is, does the variance run with the land? Yes, so, but just to be very clear, what we're seeking is the operation of a wrestling facility in that warehouse building.
And,
So-
and the guidelines are going to be the same as the previous resolution was for the property. In other words,
Right.
that the owner of the property has to live in the house and so on.
So we're not
Just that he
looking- so
wants
we'll
to
get-
just that he wants to change the use of this building.
Of that one building. We're not looking to change any of the other conditions that were in the previous resolution.
So the owner will abide by the resolution that has already been passed.
Correct. We are not looking to change anything other than the use of that one building.
So what you are changing then is the use of this building. Previous has been for parking large
Vehicles.
equipment.
Equipment, yes.
And none of that will be there, obviously.
Correct. Yes, but that is going to be almost a modification of the previous, but it's a totally new use variance. But it would be specific, and should the board vote, the use is only, it's not for, I would even condition it that it's only for that one building, not for any other building on the site, not for, not to take away anything from the previous resolution. And I do appreciate that there were many conditions in that previous resolution. I should point out that, again, should this use be approved, they indicated before, the applicant would have to come back for an amended site plan, right, to show how the traffic will work on the site, where the cars are going to park. Additionally, that previous resolution specifically indicated, restricted that there would be no plumbing and there is no bathroom in this warehouse. So again, if the board approves the use, when we come back for that site plan, we would have to come back to seek a bathroom in there.
Fine. Thank
But
you.
again, none of that is proposed today. We are just here because if we don't get to the use, the rest of it is irrelevant.
I think for us to grant a use, we need to have some idea of the plan that you're going to have going forward, because
Bifurcated, they don't.
I get that, but
So
like, if I'm looking at Mr. Peters' report, it talks about how right now there's only electricity and no restrooms in there. So, you know, before we grant this use, I would like to have them agree that there will be bathrooms put in and it will be part of the site. Obviously, I know the site plan isn't here, but it will be part of the site plan going forward.
100%. And let me, if I could just take one step forward, we would agree, and should the board approve it, number one, it's conditioned upon us coming back for a site plan. And we have to meet certain criteria. So for example, one, yes, the bathroom, we have to meet, listen, this is also in the, we have to meet all the environmental concerns, all the issues that possibly, and they did start to look into it, and it is feasible conceptually, but yes, your board professionals have to review it, would have to approve it, and if it doesn't get approved, all right, we may have the use, but if we don't have all the other items, it doesn't happen. Additionally, just for example, they called out they're calling for 50 parking spaces. We acknowledge, we understand, if we came back and showed you 20 spaces, you don't have to grant the site plan and we don't get anywhere.
And I guess I just have a question based on something you said tonight. You talked about for this, you plan on having up to 3 employees, yourself and 2 others. Under where you are now, you are the sole employees. Wasn't that what we approved?
No, I've always had, I'm just there all the time. I always have at least another coach with me for the wellness of the kids and the safety of the kids. Even if I'm like shorthanded and maybe I don't have a coach on the schedule day, I'll have a dad sit in there just to make sure I have those extra eyes on the kids. Like, honestly, we're real focused at practice. I'm really trying to get things accomplished so that the staff that's with me are focused on those things with me. And I feel like that uniform thought keeps the injuries away.
Okay, maybe my brain is just not.
That's
working
all right.
because
I appreciate the
could've sworn
questions,
that was
guys.
what it was.
Honestly, I'm not here to hide anything. I'm not here to hurt anything. I want the permissions based on what we're looking for. And like you said, those things that you're asking for, I have a plan, but like he said, without we don't get the use of the variance, we really don't have anywhere to go. And for me, it's not like I have tons of money in this business to be wasted on this good-looking guy. So when I'm telling you, I'm trying to break this into a process where I can know as I'm spending that I'm getting somewhere versus just getting all these people here tonight and then receive some crazy bill rate and then we get moved to the next one.
And I was there today just doing a quick look. I didn't
Okay.
go on the property I kind of just from the street perspective. The road that you talk about going in, is that going to be strictly for your use only, or is it also used for the other?
That driveway goes straight to the back of that building. And now there is the new build there to the right, which you would go past. So those two things, but that's going to be storage. I'm sorry. I can't speak for the owner in that building. Like I said, I'm here for building number 5.
Understood.
Building 4.
Building 4. So I'm here just for that building. But we would come through that main driveway there, go right past that perpendicular building, and then park to the front of that. And that space is huge between those two buildings.
No, I agree. And
Okay.
like I said, I was
No,
there,
I'm not
so I kind of
defending.
got, the one thing I noticed there was a large piece of construction equipment there. Is that part of what's there now? Is that going to be removed? Because
So we could, I do have the owner of the property here, but I do believe, and I can confirm in a minute, I do believe that a lot of the stuff that's going to be parked on the site that you originally, for the original approval, is being moved off-site. I do also know there is some final construction happening with the basin and the construction of renovation of the building 5, the perpendicular building. So I just don't know if that was related to that, but.
yeah, and the only reason I bring it up is if it was just sitting out there. So if you're dealing with kids between the ages of 8 and 18, they're going to go running right over to
Right,
it. if they
the
can,
intent
so.
is that those are being moved off-site with
Okay.
this approval, other than there might be some related construction, but that's.
And honestly, I had talked to Tracy about those things, and she's concerned about that as well. So she assured me that any of that heavy equipment stuff would be where it's permitted to be and off the property, if not being, if it's not supposed to be there.
In order to try to organize this, Doc Hofstein was talking about the original resolution, which is part of the application package the board got. It's resolution number 2017-52. And it grants approval for certain uses, certain residential structures, the 5,000 square foot building. So it's sort of a use and a site plan. And we're going to need to leave it up to the applicant, Mr. Pfeffer, and his client, the applicant, Mr. Rivera, and the owner to make sure that this new, assuming the board votes in the affirmative on this use variance, how this use variance resolution comports with the old resolution. So if Doc Hofstein has a concern that the old resolution said it's a 5,000 square foot building and there's no utilities to it, and they'd like to have utilities to it, well, I think we should talk about it now Because as Mr. Rivera said, he don't want to keep doing this if at some point he's going to get told, no, go home. So if we don't deal with the ability for him to have utilities in this structure, and we wait until site plan, and for some reason we decide not to do it at site plan, well, he's got a use for a building that's going to have 25 or 30 people for 4 hours a night, 5 days a week, and we're not going to have utilities in there? So it's a strange thing because I don't know that Mr. Pfeffer represents the owner. He represents the applicant. So the applicant's asking for a use variance for 1 unit on this property. The applicant owns the rest of the approvals. Part of that approval is going to change because of this approval, assuming we get to that point. It's up to Mr. Pfeffer to make sure he explains it correctly and has the consent of the owner as well as his applicant when he presents those facts to Jean so that she can put them in an affirmative resolution should we get to that point. I hope that sort of clears up there's 2 separate entities here. There's an entire site that has a resolution, and then there's 1 building that's being asked to change the use. So if anyone thinks I've misspoken, please let me know.
So I agree just about everything Mr. Peters said. Just to clarify, the resolution allowed utilities, and there are utilities to this building. What it doesn't have is a bathroom. So if I can read actually from Mr. Peters' report on page 4, talking about the old resolution, so we can get us out, so there's no questions. The applicant received approval for the continued existence and use of 2 principal residential structures on 1 lot and for the construction of a 5,000 square foot commercial storage facility, which is what we're talking about this evening. The commercial storage must relate to the owner of the property, and the structure shall only have electric utilities and no bathroom facilities. There shall be no outside storage, no repairs of equipment or vehicles on the site. Testimony shall be provided. So everything there we agree. Obviously now that originally the owner of the property wanted this 5,000 square foot warehouse for their own use. What we are here tonight is now to amend that to say we are seeking the use variance for that building of that 5,000 square foot building. The utilities are there, and we understand, should this board approve it, we got to come back. We got to show that we could do a bathroom in there. We have to show the traffic. We have to show all the other site items that would be required in the site plan.
Mr. Pfeffer, just to Mr. Peters' point, and so you had the consent of the owner who holds the existing variance approval to have that variance approval amended to change the use of this building.
Yes, and to clarify, I have the owner here. I'd like to, if we can call them up. They did sign the application as a consent to be submitted, and I have no problem. Obviously, it's
Just
a
want to make
concern.
sure the record is
We
clear.
have it on the record, and we do have, if we can have the owner, if he can just come up, we'll have her sworn in, and just she could indicate yea or nay if she consents with everything that we've been discussing so far.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give before this board will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And please state your name for the record.
Tracy DeBroville?
And you are the owner of this property?
Yes.
Mr. Rovo, you've heard the testimony of Mr. Rivera, and you've heard the questions of the board. Is there anything that we have said that is not correct or you understand it differently?
No.
Okay. And just to be 100% clear, you would consent to this application moving forward?
Yes.
And additionally, you understand that should the board grant this approval, that we would be modifying your original approval that you and your husband have received for building 4 for the warehouse?
Yes.
Thank you. Does the board have any other questions for Mr. Rovo?
I think what I would like to see, even though coming back, is that I can't see how you can operate a large wrestling school or a training facility without a bathroom. So I would like the owner to go on record to saying that she would agree to have a bathroom put in, whether it needs a septic or whatever. And second, just to confirm that since you're giving up this building where you were able to park equipment and without that, you will have no outside storage, that you will honor that part of
Yes.
of the agreement that you made previously. So at least we
Yes.
know that. be in effect.
So, Mr. Roville, if I can, we had an opportunity to have a meeting at my office a couple weeks ago. Is that correct?
Yes,
And during that meeting, we specifically discussed that should this board approve the application, that we would have to come back for a bathroom on the site. Is that correct?
yes,
And it's something that you have, I believe you indicated that you have initially looked into the capacity, that there would be a way to install the bathroom in that area?
when we were here, I think it was a year ago, or they had septic on our plan. We were trying to make changes and it was denied. So we would be coming back with, I guess, that septic plan.
And when you say it was denied, meaning you originally had shown a bathroom in that site, but the board didn't like the idea that for the warehouse
Right.
use, there was going to be a bathroom. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. And we would agree, should the board approve the use variance only, that it be conditioned upon a bathroom on site. We have no problem because we need it for our own,
Fair enough.
can operate a business without a bathroom.
And the property is on a septic system, so.
Yes.
Madam Chair? Just a question for the owner. So what is that building used for now?
Equipment storage.
And where would you relocate that?
The building 5 has been remodeled now so that some of the pieces would move in there, and then they've also been moving stuff. We have another shop in Toms River that has everything there.
Okay.
So those are all again, after going through everything, I know that we've, I don't want to say punted a lot of things to a future site plan, but we would agree that all those items can be conditions of this use variance. That in sum, that would be our testimony.
What kind of time frame are you looking at?
So
I'm sure he's under the gun because I remember your case.
Yeah, and Mr. Rivera, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I believe should the board approve this, we're going to move right into working on the site plan. We'd have to get all that stuff done. So as soon as the site plan would be able to be perfected, come back before the board, get that approved. I can't speak for how long the construction would take, but we're moving along because I believe you have.
The question is, you have to do it at ASAP, I'm
Yes.
assuming.
Like you mentioned, the way the variance is working on the house right now that I'm on, I need to do this as soon as possible, and yeah, there's no doubt, no doubt.
Can I just piggyback off that? Thank you. I just want to let the record reflect that the current location of Mr. Rivera's school was given a 1-year, I believe, time frame to complete construction. So that's probably about what we're looking at here. Just as a friendly reminder.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
If anyone would like to come forward to discuss what you've heard testified to this evening, please do so at this time.
Hello, could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give before this board will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And could you please state your name for the record?
Vicki Black,
Thank you. And could you put your address on the record?
1461 Toms River Road.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and members of the board, for the opportunity to speak tonight. I live next door to this property, so I experience firsthand how it is used day to day. Speaking personally, if the choice were simply between what has been happening on this property and a wrestling training facility, I would certainly prefer to see a youth-focused use. However, my support hinges on one very important issue: the continued industrial use of this property and the history of non-compliance with this board's prior conditions. When the variance was granted in 2017 to allow construction of the pole barn, the terms were very clear, as Mr. Pfeffer outlined. Storage was to be indoors only, and outside storage and industrial materials were not permitted. As a neighbor who lives immediately beside the property, I can say that those conditions have not been respected. In 2023, when the applicants came before you seeking to expand industrial activity, I provided testimony along with photos and videos documenting ongoing violations. Unfortunately, some of those violations continue. To this day, as of just a couple of days ago, trucks and fully loaded log trailers continue to enter the property and often remain there for extended periods. Logs, heavy equipment, and other materials are still being stored outdoors. Living next door, this isn't something I observe occasionally, it's something I see and hear regularly. My concern tonight is ultimately about safety and compatibility. A youth training facility is, by definition, a place where children and families will be coming and going. Combining that use with a heavy equipment yard with log trailers, machinery, and chippers creates a situation where the risk of a serious accident is very real. Children and industrial operations simply don't mix, and I don't believe that that is the environment this board intends to create. For that reason, if the board is inclined to approve this application, I strongly and respectfully urge you to require that any existing variance permitting commercial or industrial equipment on this property be vacated. No equipment, materials, or operations related to the land clearing business or any other business should be allowed to remain. I would also ask that this restriction extend to the adjoining property also owned by the DeRuvals, since it appears to be used in part in connection with the same industrial activities. From a practical standpoint, limiting one parcel but allowing that same operation to continue next door would not resolve the underlying safety concerns. And having them put the industrial equipment in this new storage building that they just built, it doesn't solve the problem. There will still be trucks and heavy equipment coming and going at all hours of the day. Finally, given the clear history of conditions not being followed, I respectfully ask the board to include strong enforcement measures, clear monitoring, defined consequences, and meaningful penalties if violations occur. Conditions only work when there is accountability, and neighbors should not have to repeatedly document issues for them to be addressed. I want to be clear that my goal is not to oppose this use. My goal is to ensure that if a youth facility is approved, it exists in a safe environment, and that the rules established by this board are actually honored going forward. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Low comments regarding enforcement?
I had the pleasure of speaking with Ms. Black last week. She did relay some information regarding a complaint on the property. I was very transparent and honest that there is legwork that needs to go in before a site visit can be completed, but it is scheduled at this, this site visit is scheduled but has not been completed at this time. And I will follow up once that is done.
Thank you.
It's scheduled for when?
Next week. Would you like an exact date?
Right? It's not a surprise, right? They know you're coming?
No.
They do now.
Thanks for that, though. Hi, I'm Gina. I'm the zoning officer. I'll be stopping by and introducing myself.
Sir, raise your right hand. Oh, go ahead.
Feel free. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give before this board will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And could you please state your name and address for the
Robert
record?
Connor, 1411 Toms River Road.
You can go ahead, Mr. Connor.
I have to agree with Vicky wholeheartedly. This is not the place for anything else, any other commercial business. That road, if any of you drove on 571, you know what it is. In the last 3 years, how many people have been killed up there? Just this past Friday, I came home from the store and there was a bad accident on the corner of Hope Chapel and 571. I mean, there's right across from there, there's 3 bus stops. One right across the street, 2 right next door, coming northbound. And then you have the trailer park. There's two there. This morning alone, it was 10 minutes of traffic backed up all the way down the street for the buses down by the trailer court. The traffic won't handle it. It's just unsafe. And between the commercial traffic that comes in and out of there, you can't have kids there. It's got to be one thing or the other. Somebody's going to get killed out there, and the infrastructure just won't handle it anymore. I mean, right now, around the corner, they're putting in 300 some houses. Where's the traffic supposed to go? They're going to come down 571. Somebody's going to get killed, and I just pray to God it's not a kid. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask one question? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Yes,
Connor?
Mr. Connor?
I'm sorry, Mr. Pfeffer had a
I just
question.
just one question. If you had a choice between, would you go, the business operations operating today versus a wrestling school
I have nothing against the wrestling.
No, I understand. What I'm saying is if I think the point is that I'm trying to make is that should this get approved, a lot of what you're seeing during the day won't be there.
No, but now he said 3 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, 3:30 and 10 to 4, you have buses stopping there. It's the same thing. Traffic is traffic, no matter what you put there. I mean, I get tired of going out and getting detoured, and it takes me a half hour to get back home, and I'm only a half a block away. The accidents have to stop, but you just can't keep putting more stuff there. The road won't handle it.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to come forward at this time? Seeing no one else come forward, we're going to go ahead and close public session. Mr. Pfeffer?
A couple
Can I just-
comments with
Sorry,
Mr.
Mr.
Favre, before you,
Yes,
can I just ask a question of our attorney? So since they're bifurcating this, I'm sorry, since they're bifurcating it, and this is for the use variance only, we can consider traffic for the use variance, but not from a
So
site plan. So should we expect, or should we have expected to have a traffic report tonight before we vote on the use variance?
couple of things. You can consider traffic as part of a site plan application.
But I thought it was only if there was a use variance attached. And
Well,
now-
there is use variance attached.
So even though it's bifurcated, the use variance is still attached.
Correct.
Okay.
On the site plan side. And I feel like as far as the use variance application, Mr. Pfeffer has the obligation to submit the put evidence on the record for all of the positive and negative criteria, and that's the question for tonight.
Right. And again, I completely understand the comments both from the neighbors and from the board regarding, obviously, we're talking about children. So safety is always first and foremost. So as you heard Mr. Rivera indicate, he only chose this site, once he saw the site and saw how it could work in the area, that's why he wanted to go forward with it. I have no issue, again, should you vote in favor of the use variance, it be conditioned upon all these items, including the site plan, including the traffic report, including traffic testimony indicating how it's going to work. Again, off-site, you can't really consider, but it's a separate issue. But I have no problem with the board, requesting those items. And just because you grant the use variance, we still have to meet your conditions when we come back for the site plan. So if our site plan, if you don't like it, you say, this is never going to work. Yes, you granted the use, but it doesn't go anywhere. And the reason why we bifurcated is all these things are fairly expensive. And so we're just trying to, if you guys said, this is the worst idea in the world, we move on and Mr. Rivera looks for another site. But if you say, yes, this use does make sense, it would work here, it would clean up the site, all the other stuff, then we'll go ahead and keep spending the money. He'll keep spending the money and moving forward to meet the rest of the conditions that the board may impose on the applicant.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Mr. Pfeffer, this property's on a county road, correct?
Correct.
So would the county have jurisdiction over the
Yes.
driveway or intersection design
Yes, they would.
as well as the municipality?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Pfeffer, are you planning on offering any other testimony in support of this application?
In support of the use variance, this is all the testimony we'll be providing. And I just wanted to make one other comment. I know Ms. Black indicated about a neighboring property owner, a neighbor, the other side property. This application is only on this one site, this block and lot. I can't speak about the other site. But I can tell you that should this get approved and this business move in there, a lot of, I believe, what they are seeing and commenting on will no longer be there.
As Mr. Pfeffer, but their testimony was that there was a consent, both what your representations were on the testimony of the owner, that there's consent to the amendment of the prior variance.
Correct, for this building, yes. And I don't think any commercial approval was ever granted other than the buildings, just so we're clear. So I know they're indicating that there's a business being operating. I can't speak to that, but I can tell you that the resolution didn't talk about the approval of a business.
So, Mr. Pfeffer, obviously, as I said, it's your obligation to make sure that the positive and negative criteria are met. You provided all the testimony. You're not providing planning testimony.
Correct. I have a closing statement.
Okay.
That I can make. Can I just have one moment, just ask my client, just to make sure we want to proceed based upon the 6 members? Just give me 30 seconds.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, so just real quick in closing, as council has indicated, we do have to provide the positive and negative criteria for the application. I believe that Mr. Rivera's testimony, while not a licensed planner, he does have experience both in operating his business, both in the residential zone, and has visited the site. The testimony from Mr. Rivera is that the property was particularly suited, that there is site suitability, the use is conducted entirely indoors, there's no outdoor training events, no amplified sound. The wrestling training is a low-intensity recreational use with limited class sizes. As far as, we have to also talk about the negative criteria. So again, is Mr. Rivera's testimony that there was no substantial detriment to the public good. Again, this is an existing use in another residential area and has been a good neighbor in the site that he's at. The use in Mr. Rivera's testimony was that the traffic and parking impacts will be minimal due to the limited class sizes and the staggered scheduling. As far as balancing, once you balance the positive of the site and the negative of it, there'd be little to no impact in the site. In fact, Mr. Rivera indicated that he's already had conversations with the owner that they would have to move off site. There's other heavy equipment and the machinery so that the cars could come on, the children would be on site. When you balance the two, I believe that the conclusion is that the applicant has satisfied both the positive and the negative criteria. With that, again, I would ask that the board vote in favor of the application. I asked the board to remember again that we would need 5 affirmative votes as it's a use. We would agree to all the conditions that we had spoken about before, and that should the board vote on it, we would still have to come back before this board. You get what I call a second bite at the apple. And if you don't like it at that point, when we put the rest of it together, you have the right to vote no.
So the conditions that I believe that it is discussed were that there would be the previous conditions on the property remain, including no outside storage of equipment, that there's a representative that would have to have bathrooms, which would be included in subsequently submitted site plan, and that the approval is limited to building number 4.
Correct.
Can I just ask you a clarification? No heavy equipment outside, right?
That's an existing condition.
Okay, and that's for the whole property, not just what's outside, meaning around this building 4. Nowhere on this property there should be heavy equipment. Is that correct?
There should be no equipment outside.
Anywhere around, anywhere in the whole property?
Well,
I just want to be,
we're
because
not-
there is, right? Someone visited and the first thing they said, hey, I saw this big truck. What is it?
Correct.
And
There
then
was
we
a-
heard
That
testimony,
goes
so
to, that goes to the
not enforcing.
visit that Ms. Tumalo will be
Okay,
planning.
all right. I
At
just,
some point
I
in
would-
the future.
I could
Some
just,
point in the
I could
future.
just
One more
conti-
lovely commentary,
I could
Mr.
just
just going
Martin.
to, like
I
tomorrow, how
love
about first
very,
thing
very
tomorrow?
much when you come in the office.
How
Maybe we
about
could-
first thing tomorrow morning, so they don't have time to move anything?
I
How's
can
that?
just indicate again. that
But
the-
I am
Thank you for the
concerned.
suggestion.
Okay, but, because my major concern is, I don't see this as wanting to put a commercial wrestling thing in the middle of a residential. You're asking to put a school in the middle of an industrial zone. Right now, this is being treated and used as industrial. We have heavy equipment in there. Heavy commercial use, right? Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I have no problem with that. My problem is,
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
think Mr. Martin's was.
right, in fact, what is
recognizing that.
happening, so let me put it that way, right? So in fact, what we know we happening from all the testimony and everything that we've seen is that it's being used as a heavy equipment industrial area, and we want to put a school right there. I have a problem with that. That's all I'm saying. In effect, I know, so that goes
Just
to
in
code
terms, so that we're
enforcement.
clear
but-
on the procedure where we are. Mr. Pfeffer, are you, because we seem to be verging into discussion, I want to make sure that you've had the opportunity to complete your closing statement.
Yes, I'm clear. I just want to clarify that whatever conditions are in the previous approval are there but for the use of this building. I just wanted to,
Yeah, I right. I get you.
I'm with,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
We're on the
It's
same
it's not,
page.
it's not you.
I-
I know. Just, but it's not your applicant.
In a way, going from a heavy equipment use, industrial use on the property to something that's a lighter commercial use, where you're not going to have the big trucks coming and going, which is more of a danger to traffic than school will offer. So something to consider.
I just, because I want to make sure that the board understood it correctly, I believe that that the application would change, if granted, the use of building 5. I'm sorry, building 4. That I'm not sure that it would change the overall use of the property.
Right now, if what was approved wasn't enforced, we wouldn't have this problem with the heavy equipment coming and going, because it shouldn't be there in the first place. Unless it was stored. Now, the storage facility is eliminated, so there shouldn't be any heavy equipment.
No, so
property.
that's not, no, some of it will. Yeah.
That's correct.
Not used, correct?
Correct. And again, just reading from Mr. Peters' report, which is quoting from the resolution, shall be no outside storage nor repairs of equipment or vehicles on the site. So there's no outside- So again, building 5, which is the long horizontal building point in the middle of the property.
One that was a chicken coop before, is that the one you're speaking about?
I can't tell you what the chicken coop, I'll take your
chicken
word for it, but
Well, I happened to be on the board when the
Right.
original was passed. How large is this building? No idea. I know which building it is, but
The
the way
building's
it's shaped, I
24.
don't know what kind of heavy
I'm looking at the-
equipment you could park in there.
Are we talking about building 5?
Yeah.
4,800, it's, yeah, indicated on the plan, 4,800 square feet. Building,
From
building
the
five.
shape of it, it's
very
restricted,
long, yes. Correct. It's a 24
Park
by
tractor
170.
trailers in that building.
It says that building 5 to be renovated.
Renovated.
Yeah, what kind of, I guess it doesn't matter, but.
It's almost, we have Ms. Rowe will come back up. I believe it's been renovated.
Oh, okay. Not extend, okay.
No, they're all internal renovations of that building.
Yeah, so,
Of that building's been renovated.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, we can't.
The exterior of the building is completed, except for the overhead doors, and the interior is not because with the current weather, everything is frozen, which is why you're seeing equipment on the site, because construction stopped on both the retention basin and the finished construction of that building. Everything that you'll see sitting there is in regards to that construction.
well, what kind of construction are you building that's going to allow you now to put the heavy equipment in it? Because you said the reason it's parked outside is because you're not finished with the.
It's dirt moving equipment for the retention basin.
Okay, and
The
is that
excavator,
what's going to
wheel
be
loader.
parked in building 5 going forward? No?
That
That's
will
different.
be leaving the site. That'll be leaving the site. It doesn't fit in that building. It's only,
Yeah,
it's not big
right,
enough.
right, because that's what
Oh,
I,
I
for
think
the
there's just some
dimensions, that's what I
confusion.
see. I can't see it, heavy equipment fitting in here.
Well,
But you're
it's-
saying you will be.
not, well.
Tracy,
what-
if I could, I think I have to clarify.
Okay.
The heavy machinery that's on site, is that solely because they haven't finished the construction of the stormwater basin that was previously approved?
Yes, and the dirt work around the building and
Okay.
inside.
And when that is completed, when the ground thaws and snow melts, those equipment will be moved off site?
Yes.
So
Okay.
what will then be stored? I think that what they want to know, what the board members would like to know, in building 5 that's being renovated, when that's completed, what will be
It's
stored in that building?
attachments and components. Attachments and components.
Okay.
Because
No
it's
actual.
not, even though they're the same square footage, it's
Right.
not nearly,
Right.
like the other building, this one only is 12 feet tall, and the other one I think is 18 feet tall.
Okay.
So there's quite a difference. 12 feet won't do a 13.6
Understood.
trailer or big
Yeah,
machine.
yeah. I agree.
Much, the smaller machines will be stored in that building
Sure.
and the attachments.
But you'll still have trucks coming to bring the equipment and remove the equipment at times.
Usually that is early in the morning, and I have cameras on my house, and I can show you today that there was absolutely no activity in that driveway today. It's been purported that there's tremendous amount of traffic coming and going, and I tend to disagree completely. I live there, and it's we are very pretty quiet people, and I'm a lot closer to those buildings than anybody else, and I hear nothing. My daughter in the back building, in the second house, the middle building, she doesn't even hear the trucks coming in and driving in and out of the driveway. We're getting ready to put up the 6-foot fence that we have approval for between us and the Blacks. So that'll be done as soon as the weather cooperates. We'll get that fence up for them and try and be as neighborly as we can.
Can I ask you
Yes.
one question, if that's okay? It was testified that you had big trucks with logs.
Yes,
Right.
they
What-
come in.
they come in, yeah.
Well, we're allowed to have things coming in and out
Yes.
during the day right now.
Right.
And they come in and maybe. they'll-
Unload?
No, there's nothing unloaded.
Okay.
No.
And so they come in and then they go out the same day?
Yes.
Okay. And they don't drop, so why come in? You're not going to drop anything.
Because he might be changing the tractor that's in the garage.
Yeah.
He could be waiting for a delivery time that, when you're taking things.
Oh,
to
they're going to
market.
take it somewhere
Oh,
else
yes.
and they're
Mhm.
just waiting there, but it doesn't stay overnight. See, the whole point is if it's, right? It doesn't stay
No.
overnight. It's not being stored, because it's not being
Only if
stored
it's-
inside.
If it stays overnight is under the lean-to.
Can I ask a
Under the-
question?
Which is in the building.
Yeah, okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm a little confused. The application is for building number 4. Why are we beating up a zoning issue and we're not even talking about what the application is at this point? I understand trucks come in and out. That's not what the application's here for. We're going round and round. We're not even on issue. I feel very badly for the people who have an issue. Township's going to look at it. Let's focus on this, please.
Yeah.
I think we're off base.
Let me answer
But no, we're
that.
very
So,
off base what we're talking about
Okay.
right now because we've missed the whole point. We're talking about trucks, not a wrestling school.
right. So in my mind, the wrestling part of it is done. If the only issue was putting a wrestling school, as been testified in this area, I'd be fine with that. Okay? My problem is everything, the safety of the children that are going to be in there, as was testified by the applicant, by the neighbors, right, of putting that school in there, right? Which goes around with what's happening around it. And that's why I bring it up. I disagree with you. I have already made a decision about the wrestling school on its own.
But my point
But I'm
is that
concerned
there's-
about what else is
but no
going
matter
on.
where you go,
So,
The only question before the board tonight is whether to allow the use of a wrestling school. The operation of the wrestling school and the relationship of that operation to the remainder of the site would be appropriately addressed during the site plan application.
So during site plan, you're going to be discussing the other uses that are on the property? I don't think.
Know how they interact.
Yes.
If you
Because
were
it-
to
because-
approve the wrestling school, how they would interact.
Because I'm looking at it, the way I'm looking at this application right now is we want to put a wrestling school in this spot. We think it's a great spot and everything. But I do understand Martin's, not completely, but some, that there are other uses on the property. So how do those uses intertwine with each other? And I think that's where some of the concern, I'm assuming it's from Mr. Martin's. I will say, I may not be as strong as Mr. Martin's is right now, but I do have a concern to a certain point because they are, to me, they're interactive. They're on the same piece of property. It's anytime you have a piece of property that has multiple businesses running on it, we're going to look at,
Right.
does it make sense, to get extreme, you're just not going to put totally outlandish different businesses that would be very detrimental to the community in the same lot. So I think that's what Mr. Martin is struggling with pretty significantly. I have some concerns. I've listened to the testimony of the owner. I've listened to the residents speak. I think from my perspective, what's going to be key for my determination here is the trip that someone may or may not be going out to the site.
But remember, that's going to be part of site plan. So from a land use perspective, Mr. Trevor makes a great point. From a land use perspective, we're discussing, is a wrestling school, that building, that piece there of this lot suitable for that? All the other discussions are basically, when we get to site plan, how does it interact?
And that's fine, as long as that's.
Yes, that is correct.
As long as, if we say yes to the use tonight and they come back with a site plan and we start talking about the other activity that's on there and all of a sudden there's just things that are going on that I totally say, no way should we have children there, we're going to be able to say no, and the use variance goes away?
Correct. The question
Okay.
tonight is whether the wrestling school use, if it's going to be beneficial, if it has should been shown that there's no detriment, from that use itself. When there's a site plan application, then the question is, does that application allow for appropriate use on this site? And then therefore the conditions on the site will have to be considered at that time.
Agreed.
Basically, what we're saying is that while the wrestling school may not be detrimental to the site, the rest of the site may be detrimental to the wrestling school, and that
That'll be a site plan.
and that we will be deciding at the site plan.
Correct.
So we could say, approve the application tonight, and then deny when it comes to the site plan, unless the site plan takes care of all the negative criteria that will come up.
Also gives them an opportunity to come up with a better plan, too.
Correct.
Right.
That's, and I was just going to say, Mr. Pfeffer has been here plenty of times in my, 5-year tenure at this point, and I'm sure he's heard every concern, and I'm sure he will come.
And I certainly think
Very good
tonight
plan.
provides a preview of some of the board's concerns when we get to site plan.
And that was the reason why we bifurcated the application. So, God bless you, so that we could.
And I'm sure you would have carried it if you really knew where we were going to be at.
This is why he gets paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
And I think Mr. Hostin put it exactly right, my views. It's the detriment that what's around it would have to the school, not what the school would have to what's around. That's exactly right. That's
So that's
exactly
why we
right.
were trying to
That's why I was
explain.
concerned about the use.
Right, well, that's what we were trying to explain, but that'll be a site plan discussion.
Well, if you
Okay.
remember what he said
Got
in
it.
his testimony earlier,
Right.
where he is now, it's a single lane road going in there, and they had head-on issues too. So, I mean, understood your concern, but just like the gentleman with 571, all the roads are dangerous lately. And some of these places, even the driveways are dangerous. It's inherent, but
I'm sorry, may I ask the board, do you have any further questions for the owner standing up here?
Sorry.
Going it.
You can have a seat, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Have anything else to add, Mr. Pfeffer? He said, no, I'm
I think
done.
we said it all.
Okay, we've had public session. Mr. Pfeffer has made his closing argument. Board, it's up to us for discussion.
I think we've had a lot of discussion already. I think we know where we're headed. I think I'm comfortable knowing that we have a second shot, I don't want to say shot, but a second bite at the apple when the site plan comes up. And that kind of gives me some guidance. The residents have made their issues, but we've also heard from a resident that said, anything for the kids is great. And I think a lot of people think that way. So, we have something that's for the kids in this community. Hopefully they're mostly from Jackson and you're not bringing them in from everywhere else. So from my perspective, I think it's a good use dependent on your site plan when it comes through. So if you want, I would put a motion that as long as everything is we've discussed stays intact, I'm okay with approving the use variance.
Can we
this point.
can we clarify what the use is, though? Is it primary, accessory, or conditional?
Yes, thank you. If I could jump in, just so the board's clear, the original resolution, 2017-52, that was discussed before, talked about an approval for continued existence of two principal residential structures on the lot, and for the construction of a 5,000 square foot commercial storage facility. I just want to make sure that Gene's comfortable writing the resolution in those terms. So to Mr. Tremor's point, whether it's principal or accessory, I think is somewhat irrelevant because there's already two existing principal residential structures on the lot. The hook to all of that Dr. Hofstein brought up at the beginning of the meeting was that the commercial storage must relate to the owner of the property. So somewhere in here, we have to reconcile that part of it. Not discounting your question about use, the previous approval said we have two principal uses. We're building a building that requires a use variance, and we're connecting it to one of the principal uses somehow. So whether we call this a third principal use or two existing principal uses somehow connected to the property, I think that, I don't know if we need to work that out as part of the vote or as part of the draft of the resolution.
And my inclination is that it would be a third principal use, because it's not, directly connected to the residents and the other principal uses in the same way that the storage facility was.
It would be an accessory.
No, third
No,
principal.
principal.
That's just a, okay.
So did I understand you made a motion?
I was gonna
Just
say,
before
do I have to change anything now?
No, so, yeah, you had made a motion, and the condition that we talked about, we just talked about it, being principal use. We discussed it would also be that the previous conditions remain, including no outside storage of equipment, must have bathrooms, which will be included in the site plan application, and the wrestling school use is limited to building 4.
But yes, I would make a motion to approve based on.
And
all
I'll
those.
second it.
All right, so we have a motion and a
Mr.
second. I'm sorry, are you done? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I was, Mr. Tremor seconded.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the use as a wrestling, to approve the use of Building 4 as a wrestling school. Obviously, as you all know, because we've talked about it a lot, we will address a number of these other issues should it be approved by vote at site plan. So if you vote yes, we're approving the use of the Building 4 as a wrestling school. Kathleen, roll call, please.
Mr. Martins,
Yes.
Mr. Tremor,
Yes.
Ms. Cusano,
Yes.
Mr. Seleckia,
Yes.
Dr. Hofstein,
Yes.
Ms. Bradley.
Yes.
Thank you.
So Mr. Pfeffer, you've heard the concerns. I'm sure you'll,
Took lots of notes.
Motion to close?
motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All in favor? And I know no one's
There
opposed.
somewhere.
I know no one's opposed.